Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical.
Ooh, that was short.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
I'm so egotistical and self-deluded, I needed that to play all the way through. And the man on the other microphone, he is a great American. We know him as...
Yeah, I would like to announce that I'm hanging it up, putting up the microphone. I'm done doing the show. I'm retiring, Loudbeard,
hold
from
on.
radio, so I can sell.
You can't steal Justin Bieber's thunder here. Are you Justin Bieber?
No, I have my own whiskey company now. I'm going to sell whiskey. It's called American Whiskey by Chris America. It also acts as a cologne, too.
Oh, yeah. It's what is that, Sex Panther?
Yep.
That stuff? It's delicious.
It's got cigar taste to it. It's great.
Yeah, so you're really referencing the big news that broke yesterday, and that is...
Wait, there was big news yesterday?
Yeah. Justin Bieber is taking a break from music. He's stepping back, and his fans now...
You're a huge Justin Bieber fan.
I am. I'm a huge Justin Bieber fan. I actually am very proud of one of the greatest streaks of all time, and that's one of Justin Bieber's streaks, and I like to talk about that from time to time on the show. And Justin Bieber, he's taken a step back. He's taken a break from music. He's just got to focus on repairing some of his deep-rooted issues is what he's came out and
married?
said. No, he's not. I don't think so.
I don't know. This says here, Justin Bieber taking a break from music, focusing on health and marriage. So maybe he's like looking to get married?
I have no idea. I don't really know him that well personally.
That means you still have a chance, Loudbeard.
Yeah. I'm pretty good without having Justin Bieber in my life, whether it's with music or, other things. Wink.
Yes, I don't think there was any other big news of anybody like stepping down. I mean, there's no Max Scout team again. So, I mean, that's kind of normal though, right? That's not nothing new.
Yeah, he stepped down a long time ago.
And then you got Justin Bieber stepping down or just taking a break, whatever you want to call it. I mean,
yep.
I don't think music artists ever really retired.
No.
I think Kiss has had like 15 farewell tours.
You know who I miss is Presidents of the United States of America.
Oh, such a good band.
I was listening to Lump the other day. It was on classic rock station on Sirius. And I was listening to that, and it brought me back, man.
Did you have to then cue up the Weird Al Gump version?
I did not, no.
Oh, man, every time I hear Lump, I got to listen to Gump as well.
Also good. I mean, yeah, this is a sad day because the only person of any significance stepping back out of a amazing career is Justin Bieber, and we just have to pay homage to him.
Yeah. Oh, wait. There was one other guy, but we already talked about him yesterday. Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, that's right.
But we talked about him yesterday, didn't we? Did we talk about him yesterday?
Yeah, a little bit. We
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
a little bit about Gronk yesterday.
Yeah, towards the end. Towards the end,
yep.
we talked about him
And-
stepping down.
And we didn't mention this yesterday, but Jeremy Maclin also retiring. Pretty good wide receiver in the NFL. Not as big of a name as Justin
Okay.
Bieber or Rob
Yeah,
Gronkowski.
right.
A lot of retirements going on. Maybe we missed a few. I don't know. Was there any other ones that we probably
hold on,
missed retiring?
I got one on Twitter. Guy mentioning it at us at Accountant Diva says that Carl in his accounting department is retiring.
Oh, Carl.
Good luck,
man.
Carl. Good job,
He was
buddy.
a good numbers guy.
Congratulations.
He was a good numbers guy. You know who else might be retiring?
Who's that?
The Big Baller brand. I don't know if you heard that part too.
Wait,
Big Baller
what?
brand might be folding up. Yeah.
No.
Big story. Yep, big story. You know,
Hold
everybody's folding up. You got to
Big
Google it. don't you?
baller. Googling it. Big baller
right
brand.
now. Yep, they're falling apart. You know, Lonzo is actually the primary owner, not LeVar. Contrary to popular belief, Lonzo owns 51%. LeVar owns like 16%, and they had some other partner that's like swindling money from them.
Okay, so I just saw one here from 11 hours ago. Lonzo Ball informed Lakers he would wear Kobe Bryant's signature shoe if Big Baller brand model was factor in ankle injuries.
See, does that sound like it's moving in the right direction?
If the guy that owns 51% of the company is like, I don't know if I trust these shoes, that's usually a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, so if Lonzo retires from the footwear industry, and then you've got what Gronk, and you've got Bieber, you've got all these big retirements going on.
Don't forget about Carl, man. Can't forget
Carl,
about Carl in accounting.
the numbers guy. He was always fun at the water cooler.
Which, by
You know,
the
he
way,
would-
what do you think
he
an
was bracket
accountant
guy.
diva is? I'd love to know what an accountant diva is. Is that a guy that like actually has a sense of humor?
Yeah. He comes in and he tells dad jokes. That's the accountant
that guy.
diva.
That is diva on the accountant level.
The other accountants are like, can somebody please shut him up? I have numbers to crunch. I have
Yes,
boring,
I don't have time
monotonous
for your
work to do.
Yes, I don't have time for your jokes, your flim flam.
Yeah. Get that flim flam out of here. We don't need any of that. This is bullocks.
Oh man.
Anybody
More
else?
seniors. More seniors turning to pot for age-related aches.
Yeah.
I got that one here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's it. Yeah, I guess we'll move on from retirement news, huh?
I got some. I got some like weird Goldilocks and the Three Bears type scenario. Drunk suspect in wrong bed.
Oh,
A California couple was surprised when they woke up and found suspect asleep in bed with them. The couple called police, ran out of their house, and
that
watched
just
officers
sounds like a
arrest the man.
Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean,
It happens.
I don't even know if you
College.
can call him a burglar. I know technically speaking he's a burglar, but I feel like he's got to at least be wearing the Hamburglar mask.
Oh, he's just stealing some Z's, man. I just need a
That's
place
right.
to rest.
Just trying to snag some cuddles, some spooning
Come on.
action.
Yeah, this is a comfy bed. I like it.
I want to know more about this story. I want to know where this guy lives. Like, if he's the next door neighbor or two houses, like 2 streets away, that's just missed door identity.
Well, he could have been just hanging out at a friend's house, got so wasted, didn't know where he was going, and just wandered into the neighbor's house and said, oh, maybe this is a comfy bed. Definitely a Goldilocks situation. You know, when you look back, she was quite the burglar. You know, that's a bad influence on young kids. You go in, you steal people's food,
Yep.
you steal their bed, and they're just nice people, nice family, trying to live life out in the forest. It's no big
And you don't
deal.
just steal it. You get like kind of, I don't know, hoity-toity about it. You're like, this porridge is too hot. This porridge is too cold. This one has pineapple in it. I'm going to eat it.
She sounds like an accountant diva.
Oh, I got some more drunk things going on here. One at the Notorious MMA. He was up late tweeting 5 hours ago. He tweeted, "Hey, quick announcement. I've decided to retire from the sport formerly known as mixed martial art today. I wish
What?
all my old colleagues well going forward in competition. I now join my former partners on this venture already in retirement. Proper pina coladas on me, fellas." So
What?
Conor McGregor's drunk and tweeting about retirement?
Man, that whiskey must be really good. That's some good whiskey right there. It's just
So he was on Fallon last night, too, I guess, because he tweeted out, popped Pop open a bottle of proper whiskey with me tonight on Fallon tonight.
Yeah, he was on Fallon, and he did not mention anything about retiring on Fallon. And the crazy thing is he talked about, oh, yeah, I got to fight something we're working on for July, is what he says on Fallon. And then he comes on Twitter, just a few hours later.
2 hours later.
Well, Fallon gets recorded in the middle of the day.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so, I mean, it may have been something. You get some whiskey in you after getting a good Fallon going. And you
apparently
just
it was pina coladas.
Yeah, proper ones, for
Yes.
that matter. We need a proper pina colada. And it says nothing on Fallon, which to me would have been a better place to announce that, though because it's pre-recorded, the word would have gotten out quickly, right? So you
Right.
kind of have to be careful of how you do that. So he said, I think he just kind of pulled it together and said, let me just nonchalantly throw this out on Twitter, and we'll just move on from there. And Dana White had comments kind of saying the same thing, like, it looks like Conor's actually retiring, that his whiskey is doing so well, and, he had made so much money off of that Mayweather fight that he's financially set to retire. His family will be financially set forever, basically, and he really doesn't have anything left to fight for, and that's the problem. So he seems like now is a good time to retire. And it's sad because 2014 Conor McGregor was the best Conor McGregor, and we lost
electric.
that. Yeah, we lost that. And the sport, the MMA sport, UFC, they need another guy like that. And right now they're missing it. Conor brought that sport to the next level. And, so did Lesnar and a couple of these other big names that were like crossovers and a few different things. And there are always going to be the legends, like guys like Anderson Silva and GSP. But nobody brought that electricity like McGregor. He kind of divided everybody in the MMA world. And it's sad to see that he's going to be leaving this sport.
Now, do you think he listens to Rupert Holmes' Escape the Pina Colada song while he's drinking pina coladas?
I would.
Yeah, I mean,
So if
you
I
got to,
would,
right?
I think that means he would.
He's totally jamming out while he's tweeting that out. Loudbeard. I feel like this is why I didn't like MMA or UFC going all in on Conor the last 2 or 3 years, just kind of waiting for him. I felt like they needed to move on quickly once he became such like a, I don't know if head case is the right word, but just a guy that just only wanted to focus on his brand and himself, which is totally his right, and he's more than welcome to do. But you as a business, you gotta move on. And I felt like they let him hang on to that title too long. I feel like they haven't really been pumping up that many big name fighters for that, like they were with Conor McGregor, because it was kind of like a match made in heaven, UFC and Conor McGregor, right? Like UFC pumped him up, and then when he was pumped up, he delivered. And I feel like they need to do that with more guys.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And
I
gals.
feel like they were Motorola and Conor McGregor was the Razor, right? They lived on that high of the Razor being the #1 selling phone.
That's a
and
really
then
good.
iPhone came and then started like just stomping them. And they kept coming out with the Razor 2, the Razor Edge, the Razor this, the Razor that. And Motorola kept trying to hang on to what was once the #1 item in the world. And it just, things move on. You have to move on. You have to evolve. And Motorola never evolved, and they're pretty much gone. And UFC, they didn't evolve, right? They didn't get other guys up into that spotlight. They tried to hang on to that Conor McGregor for too long. Now, we got a hot tweet coming in on our Twitter line at Ian_Rehab Sports. Ian, a good friend of the show, longtime listener. Thank you, Ian, for listening in. He says, Conor is getting out while he is hot, unlike Ronda. Is that a hot take? What do you think of this, Chris America?
I don't know. They both went out on 2 losses, right? They both went out with their last fight being an utter and complete embarrassment. So I don't. Is he
I thought
hotter?
Ronda had 3 losses.
Did she? Okay, maybe she did. I'd have to go back and
she
look.
had that
but
3rd loss. Yeah, she had the best winning streak and then a bad losing streak. But I mean, I get where he's coming from. Where Conor, if Conor comes in and loses another one, his star is completely gone, right? That kind of what happened to Ronda.
and he didn't do it right after his last fight either. Like he was embarrassed like 6 months ago.
He was. He's
so
been thinking about
he's
this.
been kind of talking about this fight and that fight, and we've been waiting for him to come back. And now he's distanced himself enough to where people can kind of remember him as Conor McGregor, the trash-talking fighter who was really good, instead of the guy that just got embarrassed last night. So, like, had he gotten embarrassed on Saturday night and then announced this today, then it looks like, okay, he's tucking his tail and running.
Yeah, but do you think that this is a done deal? Do you think he's never going to fight again? Or do you think after like a year he'll get an itch and then be back? Because he's only 30 years old.
It's just like rock bands. Like fighting athletes, they don't retire until their body completely just can't hang. I mean, who was it? Didn't like George Foreman or somebody fought in his like late 40s?
Foreman definitely did.
I feel like somebody came back like 2 years, 3 years later. I think that Floyd Money Mayweather will come back at some point. Somebody's going to offer them a fight and enough money for them to come in and do a fight. And I think Conor's going to have that option, especially for the next 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, he's too young right now.
I remember thinking GSP was gone for a long time, and then he came back. Took one fight, got his belt, and then retired again.
Yeah. I always thought Barry Sanders would come back, too. That's not a different sport. But
yeah, him and Calvin Johnson.
That's Curse of the Lions. Yeah, I think he's too young just to stay out forever, and he's got too much clout still. Everybody really thinks highly of Conor, even though he's lost his last couple fights. And he sees the writing on the wall because he's not as hungry when he's training. When you're broke and this is all you have and this is your passion and you're trying to make it, you fight, you train harder than ever, you fight harder than ever, and you go out there and you put it all on the line. And he did that. He did that for a long time. But as soon as he got that payday, that Mayweather fight, you could tell that was the beginning of the end. It was like Rocky, where Rocky gets rich and there's crazy Russians out there wanting to hunt him down and all that. So I think he'll come back, but he just isn't the same guy. The 2014 McGregor's the guy we miss, the guy we loved. But it's sad to hear that he's stepping back and retiring. It's almost a little sadder than the Bieber news.
Do you think this is sort of a ploy? Sort of to kind of build up interest for his next fight? Like he was already planning on not fighting for another year or two. And so now he doesn't have to answer questions about when your next fight is or what you're going to do. So let me just go ahead and tell you that I'm retiring. And then that way you can stop asking me. I mean, you can ask me if I'm coming back and I can kind of say, no, I don't really. I'm enjoying retirement. And you get to have that answer. And then when you come back to, he would bring back that huge draw that maybe, I don't think he would have lost that much of a draw, but I feel like there would have been a small percentage of people who look at Conor McGregor going into his next fight, had this never happened, and say, I just kind of not that interested in him anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he is a marketing genius. When we look back at everything that he's done up until this point, selling that Mayweather fight, those press conferences that they were doing, his build-up in the MMA, everything was about building that brand. And he built that brand to hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And that in itself is crazy, in my opinion. I think that he's gotten to that point where it was more about marketing than anything else. And because of that, you're right, he could look at it and he could say to himself, I just need to make more money, and the way to do that is hype this fight by retiring. Now, we do have another tweet coming in, and I just wanted to look at this because this is kind of an interesting take here. In it, he specifically says the wording, so this is again from Ian. He says, does the wording sport of mixed martial arts leave the door open for wrestling or boxing? So, I
think it does. And honestly, I think if there is a fight, his next fight, if I were to bet money on what his next fight would be, obviously I think he can get into wrestling. That's the one thing I don't know about. But his next actual competitive fight, I believe, will be against Money Mayweather again.
Yeah, Money was too good there. It's just too good. The two of them, rematch, I could see that happening. It could be a year down the road, 2 years down the road. But
now,
I don't know if that happening.
I don't know if they can demand that $100 again. Maybe it will. I don't know. I wouldn't pay $100 again for it.
Would you? But are you paying any money to watch a big time boxing match with any boxer right now?
If it was between two boxers that I know I'm going to see a good boxing match, maybe. But because I know this isn't even going to be remote, like I've already seen this, and because Conor McGregor hasn't fought in an MMA match in a long time, let alone a boxing match, I feel like that kind of hurts it. That's what I think.
Man, I think it hurts it, but the brands there are bigger than anybody else.
I guess.
Right now, when you think of boxing, we hardly know anybody in the boxing realm because boxing is it's changed so much. You don't have the Tysons and the Holyfields. You don't have those big names like you used to have. Yeah, there's Triple G. Manny's gone out of the sport now. He's a nice politician over in the Philippines. Who else is it that is the big name out there that we're sitting here going, oh, wow, this guy is amazing. Now, the guy Spence Jr. that we saw fight the other night, yeah, I mean, he's building his brand, but I don't know if I'm going to pay to watch him fight again. I don't know if I'm going to do that. So when you look at in the boxing world, Mayweather's the one real deal big-time name, and Conor McGregor may have done just enough the first time to warrant watching a second rematch or watching a rematch. So I think people would still pay. It may not draw the same thing that it drew before. Like you said, you're not interested. So
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, though, if you got together, let's say 5 of us got together, threw in $20 to watch it, would you do that? Not pay the $100?
Right, yeah. I mean, and I think that's what a lot of people did last time. I think that's what we did last time. I don't know, man. I have no doubts that they'll make a ton of money, more money than I could ever dream of making. I just don't know if it would be the same amount. And, like, you're right about the brands, but in sports, you still need to be good. It still needs to be a good fight, a good game, a good match. It needs to be entertaining because if it's not, the brands can only carry you so far. Like, if the 2-10 Dallas Cowboys played the 3-9 Pittsburgh Steelers, two of the biggest brands in all of football, people still are going to be like, okay. Like, Fox isn't going to put them on the game of the week.
Yeah,
because it's two bad teams. And, I mean, a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans will watch, a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans will watch, but the rest of, like, the, casual fan or other NFL fan bases are going to be like, it's two really awful teams. Why do I don't want to watch them other than the fact that maybe you just like watching the Dallas Cowboys lose?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe a comparison I could make is that we're talking about Ronda Rousey, right? Like, she's got this huge star still, being an actress, being in WWE. If she announced tomorrow that she wanted to come out of retirement and fight Holly Holm again or just anybody in MMA, people would watch it just because it's Ronda Rousey. She may be terrible and get her butt beat, but they would watch it because it's Ronda Rousey. Where you could have two of the top female MMA fighters that aren't household names fight, that could be the best fight ever, but pay-per-view could be just good, not great. But if Ronda came back out of retirement, it would be through the roof because everybody that is a casual fan that likes Ronda Rousey, even some wrestling fans would come in and throw in on a pay-per-view to watch Ronda get back in there and fight again.
There's no doubt that there will be people who will watch. It just won't be the same or as many as it was when they were at their top of their game.
Well, here's the deal. So what? Floyd made $300 million and Conor made $100 million, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. So if let's say it's half, if Conor could make $50 million and Floyd could make $150 million, would they do it? Would it be worth it to them?
I think Conor would. I don't know if Floyd would. It depends on how he did it in Vegas this past weekend.
Oh yeah, he's gonna owe the tax man soon enough.
The tax man.
He needs more money. Man, Income's got to come, right?
Those car notes add up.
Yep,
all those
does. All Lamborghinis,
those
Ferraris,
bills that
whatever
you keep
he's got.
flashing and making rain, like those add up.
They do, man. Gosh. Well,
I feel like if I was ever super wealthy and I made it rain, I would instantly regret it no matter how much money I was worth. I would just look at all those bills flying and be like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I hate wasting money. Wasting money is like one of the worst things that ever happens to me.
Yeah, and that might be something that if you had $100 million, you may change. But a lot of these people that are filthy rich, Money Mayweather excluded from this group, a lot of them are because they're like you, right? Like where they don't want to see their money disappear, so they just hoard it, and they continue to hoard it, and that's why they become, a millionaire becomes a billionaire. It's not because they're spending all their money. It's because all they do is work on trying to make more money and conserve their money. And yeah, they may have an elaborate house, but when you have $1 billion and you buy a $2 or $3 million house, it's really just a drop in the bucket. These guys, they're frugal. Most millionaires are frugal as heck. And so, Chris America, you're in the first step towards becoming a millionaire. You are.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just blow it on like electronics and stuff, but just making it rain.
That's the one. Just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because
to
I
you,
don't have anything to like show for it.
Yeah, except a viral video. That's worth it,
true.
right?
That's true. I
Speaking
could
of
use a
money,
good old-fashioned Gronk viral video.
oh yeah, big time. Speaking of money, I want to talk NBA, but I feel like that'll be better for after the commercial break because there's a little NBA to talk. But before we do that, we got about 5 minutes left till we hit the commercial break here. Indians owner, so Cleveland Indians owner comes out and he gives a he doesn't give. He says that he will give a $300 million deal maybe someday when some other teams give a $1 billion deal. He's saying that these deals are not worth it, and he would not give a $300 million deal to anybody right now. Do you think that is a good comment for an owner to say now after this Trout deal and this Harper deal? I mean, what are your thoughts on this as an owner coming out and saying that he would not give a $300 million deal?
I don't have any problems with it. It depends on how his team's doing, though. I feel like if he's not spending any money and just has a crappy team all the time, that's a bad look for your fan base and for the league because you're only as good as your worst team sometimes. Like, yeah, the top teams are good to watch and everything, but the more parity you have, the more likely you're going to gain national viewership and national interest. And baseball has a lot of parity, but they also have a lot of like bottom feeder teams that just never seem to get up and do anything. And it's a bad look for a fan base if your owner's telling you, I'm not going to spend money.
Yeah, what if you're that big time star that's coming up? Now the Indians are competitive. They're in the mix for the playoff punt. They have been for the last few years. So they're competitive. So they're doing the right things. But if let's say you're an up and coming superstar and you're ready for that big payday, are you a little concerned? Are you a little maybe turned off by these comments thinking, okay, all right, I see where this is at. I'm going to have to go to the Yankees or the Red Sox because the Cleveland Indians aren't willing to pay me.
I mean, if I've already known that the owner says I'm not going to pay $300 million and that's my starting point, then my agent's not answering the Indians' phone call. Because why am I going to waste my time entertaining an owner that said that they're not even going to pay for my starting point? So, again, if you're a fan, there are teams in baseball that can be competitive without the $300 million superstar. There's a ton of them, actually. If you spread that money out to multiple players, you generally end up with a really good team. I think that's what the Red Sox have done. Like, obviously, they got Price on there. He's making $30 million a year, which is ridiculous. But I feel like they've spread out their money fairly decently. They don't have any, like, two or three. Like, they're not like the Anaheim Angels.
Yeah, when they've got the Pujols contract, and now they'll have the contract for Trout. They'll have all of that.
Or you look at the Astros. They're kind of spread out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that the Red Sox are a great example.
No, they weren't, because I started thinking about some of the other high-paid guys. But
yeah, Chris Sale just got a big extension from the Red Sox.
Maybe the Cubs. Do the Cubs have a big $300 million contract on their roster?
Cubs, I don't know. I'd have to look. They've got a lot of young talent that is probably going to demand that at some point. So
I know that a lot of the Cubs fans wanted them to go after Bryce Harper. It never really seemed like they were in the running, though.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
So if you have
All
a
right.
good team, you can say, yeah, we're not going to pay $300 million. We're going to do it a smarter way. Yeah, you can say it then. But if you have a bad team and you're like, I'm not going to spend money on players, that's a bad look for fans.
It is a bad look for fans. Well, we're almost up against the commercial break. Real quick, this one NFL story I had, and I'm going to it's super quick, but Jets are very open to trading that third pick in the draft. I guess when you have faith that Sam Darnold is your quarterback of the future, you're willing to trade that pick down and get some extra assets. Do you think anybody trades up to grab maybe that next quarterback like the Bears did when they went after Trubisky? That third spot, you think somebody's trading up to maybe steal Haskins out from the Giants? Anything thoughts there?
I can see some teams doing that, or I could see the Giants thinking that other teams are going to do that, and so they trade up.
I guess that would be more like what the Bears did. They traded against themselves, basically.
Right. That's exactly what they did, yeah.
All
so I
right.
can see them doing that, and maybe even some might even trade for that number 1 spot. I mean, I don't know how much. I know everybody says that the Arizona Cardinals are in love with them, and they're probably right. Usually when you hear this much confidence in a story like that, they are, but I don't know, man. You can never tell with the NFL draft.
Yeah, you can't. All right.
A team might trade up to the number 10 spot, draft some kid out of Texas Tech you never even heard of, and then he becomes a MVP of the league and a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Mahomes, smell you later. So, Chris America, on the other side of our quick commercial break, I'm going to ask you, is there another fan base out there that you feel worse about than the Cleveland Browns? Well, guess what? I think I have one for you. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back, and thank you all for listening in. Once again, you are listening to Scout Team Radio. I am Loudbeard. On the other microphone, we have Chris America. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio. We also replay at 11 a.m. on 12-ounce Sports Radio. And each and every day, we drop our podcast. Make sure you check out that podcast. It's It's available on the Barn Burner Podcast Network. And also, if you want to just search iTunes or search Apple Podcasts or any Spotify podcast, anywhere you find a podcast, you can search all of those things. Just search Scout Team Radio. You can find it. Check out our website, scoutteamradio.com, for some of our older episodes. A lot of classics out there. And lastly, make sure you hit us up on Twitter. We like to get social at Scout Team Radio. Hit us up when you can hit us up. Now, Chris America, there's something big that happened last night, and it made me think that, we're always feeling bad for the Cleveland Browns. They, the fumble, the drive. But there is a team out there that I think has had worse luck in their history than the Cleveland Browns, and that would be the NBA's Portland Trailblazers. Last night, they got a huge, injury is the best way to put it, but it was a gruesome injury. Their big man, Yusuf Nurkic, he goes down and has one of those bad compound fracture type injuries, and the Trailblazers go again with some bad luck. So am I off base by saying that the Trailblazers fan base has been, less lucky than the Cleveland Browns? Is this possibly the worst, most snake-bitten franchise in all of sports?
I think in a way, yeah, because I have to look back. I feel like Portland is always that middle of the road team. They're never comically bad like the Browns usually are historically the last, 20 years. But they're also not playoff worthy good all the time. So like every once in a while you'll see them, they make it into the playoffs, or they'll be like the 8th to 10th pick in the draft.
Yeah, and two of the biggest things that have ever happened in history to the Trailblazers that to me make them less lucky than when we think of the fumble and the drive. Mm-hmm. One is the drafting of Sam Bowie ahead of Michael Jordan in that 84 draft, 84, 85 draft. So then you lose out there, and then also picking Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. So you have gotten the two most unlucky picks ever as a team drafting. So as a fan base, I'm looking at it as a fan, those feel bad. So, you finally get your program going good, and you got Damian Lillard, and you've got LaMarcus Aldridge, and then LaMarcus Aldridge leaves, and you're thinking, oh, now we're going to be bad again. Well, Damian Lillard's still good, and then you bring in C.J. McCollum, and you start building pieces, and you get to the point where you're actually a contender, and you've got Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, you've got Nurkic, you have got a solid team. You're the 4th seed. You've already clinched the playoffs, and your big man that is having a career year goes down with a gruesome injury. I think the Trailblazers have a curse on them, and to me that curse is worse than what the Cleveland Browns have. And Browns fans, you can at me, I don't care. You can do whatever you want to do, but I would rather be a Browns fan than a Trailblazers fan, because I feel like the Trailblazers have a worse curse on them than the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, so I kind of just went through and skimmed through their draft history and what pick number they had. And I was right. They were around anywhere between 15 to 25 over the last 30 years between Sam Bowie and now. They had a couple of years, 2006, 2007, where they had pick number 4. They picked Tyrus Thomas. No idea who that is anymore. Did that guy do anything in the NBA?
No, nothing significant.
And then the next year, the big one, 2007, number 1 overall pick, Greg Oden. Now, you talk about bad luck. It's drafting that guy.
Yep. And we just got a tweet in, and this is also a big one. 1977, the MVP of the finals was Bill Walton. So the Trailblazers won a championship in 1977. Unfortunately, I wasn't alive to witness that, so that's tough to see. But Bill Walton goes on to get hurt and never is quite the same guy, and then he goes on and he wins the title with Bird with the Celtics, which – Bill Walton was a shell of himself at that point, but he still wins a championship on another team. But Bill Walton's another one. Now, he did bring them a championship, but how many more could they have had if Bill Walton would have stayed healthy, right? He's just another one where you look at it and say, would have, could have, should have. Another big man not working out for your your program. So
Now think about this. I just looked back at the 83 draft, the 84 draft, and the 85 draft for them. Now the Sam Bowie draft was sandwiched in there, right? Pretty
Yes.
bad.
yeah,
This
that's
is why they've never won a championship, why they'll always be a bridesmaid and never the bride. The 83 draft, they drafted Clyde Drexler with the 14 pick. That's a steal at 14, right?
yes.
And then with the 24th pick in the 1985 draft, they drafted Terry Porter, another steal at 24.
Yes.
So it's like, God, they pick up these great. Could you imagine Clyde Drexler and Terry Porter with Michael Jordan? That's their deal. God, that would have been a fantastic team.
Now, if I remember correctly, the Trailblazers came out and they said that because they had Clyde Drexler and they saw what he brought to the court, he kind of had some of the similar skill set as Michael Jordan, and they were looking for a big man to fill that role. So they
Yeah.
were leaning towards getting a big man, and they put too much weight on that, and that's why they picked Bowie over Jordan. And again, this is why when you draft, sometimes it's more about getting the best player available and less about need, right? Because sometimes when you draft for need, you say, okay, I need a big man. Well, you might get a big man that talent doesn't equal what that of a small forward or a shooting guard, and you end up losing out on possibly historically the best player of all time. I'm telling you, they're cursed.
Yeah, and you just somehow you got to say just make it work. Like Harden and Chris Paul, just make it work. Figure it out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Russell and Harden, just figure it out. Make it work. You guys can pass the ball back and forth. You can both. You bring it up the floor like the next 10 plays, and then we'll switch it up.
Man, I do have to give it out, though, to the Trailblazers fans. So this big man goes down. It's a serious injury. They have to put the towel over it so people don't see it. I actually didn't go back and look. Sometimes that stuff makes me a little queasy. You can take my man card. I don't care. So they put the blanket or the towel over his leg as they're kind of working on him, and the crowd's just chanting his name. And they're just, giving him that emotional support, letting him know that we know this is bad. We know that this is season ending. And, for a big man, a 7-footer, this could be career ending, right? This is a tough injury to come back from. So the crowd just sits there and just chants his name over and over while they're working on him. And they end up having to stretcher him off. But kudos to that Trailblazers crowd, because that fan base, they're supporting their team, man. They love their team. Whether or not they've had the worst luck in any franchise history, they love it. So they are chanting Nurkic's name. And this is tough for a team that had they probably had the fan base thought they had championship aspirations, right? They're having a phenomenal year. Their record's great. They've already clinched a seed. They're at the 4th seed right now in the West. And to lose a crucial part of that is tough. But they stood there and they chanted his name. That's, to me, when fans are doing the right thing. I like chants of positivity, like helping a guy out, not this other crap that you hear about, these bad fans acting up.
Yes, I love positivity, Loudbeard, and I got some more positivity for you. That's right. Loudbeard, the Orlando Magic looked unstoppable last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. They are now a half game back on the Miami Heat for that 8th spot with a game against none other than the Miami Heat tonight. I am feeling these playoffs, Loudbeard. We had a 5-game homestand. We went 5-0. I think it was the first time the Magic ever in franchise history ever swept a 5-game homestand or more. And the Magic did it. Now we got to go on the road. We got a lot of tough competition ahead of us and a lot of easy competition. You know how bad we do against easy competition. But right now, I'm on that highest of highs with the Orlando Magic. I am feeling the playoffs. And if you're a 76ers fan, I don't know if that was indicative of how you guys have been playing. I haven't really caught your guys' games in a long time, but they looked out of sync. They looked out of sorts. And they looked like a very bad team last night, Loudbeard.
Well, they may have thought that they were going to play down to the competition, not realizing how good the Orlando Magic were. Yeah, the 76ers, they've been actually playing good as of late. They're starting to gel together, so this ends up being a huge win for the Magic. And when you look at the big men on the court, Joel Embiid finishes with 20 points, 10 rebounds, has a pretty solid game.
Yeah.
But the real shining star was Vooch. Vooch ends up with 28 points, 11 rebounds, and he outplayed Embiid. I'm just saying, Embiid, who is an MVP caliber type NBA player, just got outplayed by the Orlando Magic's Nikola Vucevic. And that in itself was a sight to see.
You're wrong, Loudbeard. That was not the star of the night.
Who's the star of the night?
I could even say that it was Evan Fournier, who scored a lot of points, even had a block on Jimmy Butler. But even he wasn't the star of the night. No. The star of the night was one Michael Carter Williams. He scored 15 points yesterday after signing his second 10-day contract with the team. The dude came out and played like his hair was on fire. It was amazing to see. You talk about a good positive story. It's about a guy who has been bounced around the league several times, knows he's on his 10th, 11th, 12th chance. He gets another 10-day contract with the Orlando Magic, his second one with the team, and he just balls out. He gets 15 points in yesterday's game. Was a huge asset to that win that we had last night.
Well, he's one of those guys that his star was so bright. He was Rookie of the Year, and all of a sudden just disappears in the league, right? Like you said, moves around team to team, can't find his identity. But maybe he's hungry now. Maybe he is what Conor McGregor wishes he still had is that hunger, that desire, that just eye of the tiger, to be cliche. So Michael Carter Williams, good to see him out there balling out, man. Good to see.
Yeah, he was drafted by the 76ers, 11th overall, so maybe that's another reason why he decided to ball out real hard, was going against his former team where he got that Rookie of the Year. And that's crazy to think about because I really forgot about this guy completely. And then he's out here balling out the Magic. I'm like, why do I know that name? And then the announcer's like, oh, this is former NBA Rookie of the Year 2014. And I was like, I can't think of a Rookie of the Year candidate who crashed and burned that hard.
Yeah, he was one of the worst. And that was one of those drafts where you're like, nah, this is a weak draft class. And this guy comes out and he has like a few triple-doubles. And you're like, wow, he's got a lot of potential. And it was just that draft class was so bad that he was the best of the worst. And when you look back, you think, wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. This guy's career could have been so much better.
Yeah, definitely. Ladbeard, I went back and looked, and you have reason to hope that Conor McGregor will come back because I mentioned George Foreman taking a little break. He actually took 10 years off from 1977, where he was about 28 years old, to 1987. When he finally got back into boxing at 38 years old, which is insane to think about. And then he went on to box for the last boxing match was in 1997. So it would be insane to think Conor McGregor might do the same 10 years from now.
Yeah, and George Foreman was actually better, in my opinion, his second time around. He felt like he was like a more well-rounded, more mature fighter at that point.
Yeah.
And he's one of the great stories of, you know what, you can come back at any age. He was fighting until he was, at 97? I don't even know how old he was,
48.
but late 40s?
Yeah, 48. 47, 48.
That's crazy, man. That is absolutely crazy, but good for him. He went after that grill, so that helped him out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how true this story is, but I remember there being a story where Hulk Hogan passed on endorsing that grill, and George Foreman picked it up as the guy. I don't know if that's a true story or not.
I think that was good on the grill's part, too, because I can't imagine a Hulkamania grill or a Hulk grill. It just doesn't roll off the tongue like a Foreman grill because it honestly just sounds like a brand name anyways, even if he wasn't a boxer. Like Foreman just sounds like a good grill-type name.
It does, but that's because we've known that for so long.
I guess. Hogan Grill? It is. It's
Come
weird.
on, Hulk Hogan's every day. Like, he could have came out and said, "This is how you stay in great shape, brother. You cook your hamburger patties on my grill."
Well, yeah,
brother.
I mean, he could have sold it, but it just didn't have. It wouldn't. I don't think it would have that. It would be kind of like, I don't know, kind of. I can't think of the word right now. Like tacky, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
I feel like the
maybe it
Foreman
wouldn't have
grill
had
is
the
kind
longevity.
the Foreman grill is kind of tacky as it is, but I feel like a Hulkamania grill or a Hulk Hogan grill or Hogan grill, just I don't know. Like I see Foreman with the apron on, and he's out there grilling, and he's got that like dad bod on lock at this point, and you just see a grilling guy. And I look at Hulkamania with his bandanas and his hair in a weird bald mullet. It just I can't relate to that.
All right, you've gone too far. Okay, you don't diss on the Hulkamaniac. I mean, you can for the bad things that he's done, but for being a grill master, what has he ever done to you?
I'm just picturing him in an apron right now, and it's just not working for me.
I will say the George Foreman, here's my son George. Here's my other son George.
Here's my other
son George. Now, I have to live with that in my life. So if I did not have that, I wouldn't be quite complete. So, I'm with you a little bit, but I think a Hulkamaniac grill would have done just as well, and I would have been okay with that.
Okay, Ladbeard, I have to ask you something. What is going on with the Oklahoma City Thunder? They slide to the 8th seed last night.
Yeah, they do. They get a big loss to the Grizzlies, 115-103. Paul George has a great game, 30 points, 12 rebounds. But, it's those red-hot Grizzlies right now. They're just tearing up the league. And you're right, the Thunder fall to that 8th seed. I don't see them falling further than that because the Sacramento Kings are so far behind.
Yeah, I mean, they
the
have
Kings
43
are
wins
almost
and the Kings are
eliminated.
36 wins. Yeah, I mean, the Kings are several games back. So the Western Conference playoffs, I feel like their 8 teams are set. They're all just not mathematically clinched yet, but more than likely it would take a huge meltdown or some sort of gigantic run. It would have to take both. The Kings would have to go on a big run, and the Thunder would have to have one of the most epic meltdowns of all time.
Yeah, somebody would have to lose it. And it's so close, right? You got the Jazz, the Clippers, the Spurs, the Thunder, all sitting there at 44 or 43 and 44 wins. So 5 through 8, it's really close, but one of those teams would have to have an epic meltdown for the Kings to even have a chance. And the Kings haven't been playing great of late. I think they've only won 4 out of their last 10 games. So I don't see that even being a possibility. So you're right. The 8 teams here in the West basically set unless something catastrophic happens, which we do not anticipate.
The West has been interesting this year.
It has been. I completely agree with that.
We've been talking about the seeds and stuff, and when I look at the Eastern Conference, I feel like it's kind of just held chalk the whole entire season. Maybe a couple of moves here and there. 6, 7, and 8 kind of has slid around. But other than, I would say, Golden State and Denver, the rest of the Western Conference has just kind of been sliding back and forth. At one point, the Lakers were the 4 seed. The Rockets were like the 15 seed in the West. It was nuts.
This has been one of those crazy seasons with the Western Conference, and this is why I think that Golden State may be in trouble, because anything and everything can happen. You're seeing teams get hot, teams get cold. You're seeing a lot of just movement here in the Western Conference. So nothing's set. I mean, Golden State still got that 1 seed, and they still have a ton of superstars. But these other teams, the Spurs getting hot right at the right time, the Thunder getting cold at the wrong time, anything can happen, Chris America. The West is wild again, the wild, wild West. That's what I call it, just like that great Will Smith movie.
If the playoffs started today, the Warriors would play the Thunder. Can Billy Donovan afford another first-round exit?
No, I think he would be done.
Yeah.
When
Do you
have
think
Paul
he
George
goes back
Russ,
to college?
Yeah, I think he wants to get his education. He's like Billy Madison. He's the Billy Madison of basketball.
Of college, yeah.
Of college, yeah. He goes back. He wears his REO Speedwagon shirt, and he drives up in his Chevy Camaro, and he looks cool.
I kind of feel for him, but at the same time, he's had a talented team and 2 first-round exits and 1 Western Conference final loss. It just isn't going to cut it in the NBA with that kind of talent on your team.
Yeah, they'll bring in somebody new. Another team possibly switching coaches up after the season ends, and when I say possibly, 99.9% sure. Lakers are going to be getting rid of Luke Walton, as we are all well aware. But Jason Kidd looks like he's coming out as the front runner. So Jason Kidd could be the next Lakers coach. But what if the Oklahoma City Thunder offered him a position? If Billy Donovan gets the axe after a first-round exit and you had a choice between the Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, which job would you take?
I don't know. That's the tough one because I don't. What's Russell's contract? Isn't it up this season or is it next season? It's up.
I'd have to look at it. He did an extension. I feel like
Yeah.
he's there for a couple more years.
Because he's got to be done with it too if they have another first round exit. That's embarrassing for him.
I don't know. He got Paul George to stay, and
Yeah.
I
It
just
like
he
if he
seems
sees
like he's a
Durant go
lifer.
to New York with Kyrie Irving and he sees like the Knicks go from bottom feeder to playing in the finals again and he's still getting beat up by the Warriors, I feel like that would make him want to move. I don't know.
Do you think Durant would pull like a LeBron where he went back to the Thunder?
I'd kind of hope for it. It would be
That would be
an
good.
awesome story. I'd rather see that than him going to the Knicks.
Yeah, oh, big time. That would be great.
Or really just him going anywhere other than the Magic. I mean, he can come to the Magic.
Yeah, we'll put up billboards. Bring him to Orlando.
We'll
Everybody
find a
loves
spot
Orlando.
we'll find a spot for him on the roster. We'll make room.
Well, Chris America, it's been a great show. I appreciate it. As always, we have good time in the morning. And I didn't even talk about Devin Booker scoring 59 points and losing by more than 30 as the Phoenix Suns are still garbage.
Oh man.
How do you do that?
Maybe he should join the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He scored 59 of the 92 points of his team. That's like
what do you
straight Kobe right
say
there.
to your teammates after that? Like, where the hell were you guys?
You say, I quit. I'm done.
It's like when you're in college and you're doing a group project and you're the one that does all the work,
I hate that too.
and then you get a D because of it.
Who you calling a D? You're a D.
Your mom goes to college.